I'm here with Sir Richard Branson, the founder and chairman of the Virgin Group, a serial entrepreneur, a billionaire, a philanthropist, a shark on Shark Tank, the best-selling author of many books including Finding My Virginity, and the founder, the chief resident of Nectar Island, his own private island. Richard, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
You've been starting, managing, and advising companies since you were a teenager. What keeps you motivated to continue this entrepreneurial journey?
I love learning, and every day I'm learning something new. I've got myself into a position where I think I can achieve a lot. I can pick up the phone to perhaps anyone in the world, and they'll take the call. I didn't have that luxury when I was, struggling as a teenager many years ago. And that means I can cut through and get things done. So I've become, I suppose, a bit of a serial philanthropist, like I've been a serial entrepreneur, trying to take on some of the bigger problems of the world and see whether I can help resolve them. And I get enormous satisfaction from it, and I think the people I work with get enormous satisfaction from it. So just don't want to waste the position I find myself in.
How do you decide what companies to start, to invest in, or to license the Virgin brand name to?
We very rarely license the Virgin name per se. We normally start as either owning the company or a big shareholder in the company, and then maybe later on in the life of the company, once it's matured, we might sell it and then use the money to start new companies. The kinds of companies we go into are often areas where we're frustrated. We feel it could be done better. For instance, we've just announced Virgin Hyperloop. I run the biggest train company in the UK. The fastest our trains can go is about 135 miles an hour. I love the idea of being able to run a network in a tunnel at 600 or 700 miles an hour, and so we had to leap in there. It's famously known how we got into the airline business. I was bumped off a flight one day, and so ended up ringing up Boeing and asking if they had any second-hand 747s for sale. So I think they're all good reasons to start companies. Recently we've invested in a company called Memphis Meats. I'd hate seeing the rainforest disappearing because more and more cattle are needed to feed the world. If we can stop killing cattle and just take a little bit of a live cattle and multiply it up, and how much better a way. So we're always looking for opportunities like that.
Can you tell me some of your daily routines for maintaining your health and how that impacts your productivity as a business person and entrepreneur?
If you don't lead a healthy lifestyle, your productivity will be completely screwed, basically. I get up early in the morning, I play a very hard game of tennis. Somebody better than me. I'll have another couple of sets of tennis in the evening. Again, singles tennis. I'll most likely go kite surfing, maybe even go surfing. And that's a sort of daily routine. And then once a year we set ourselves a big challenge. So last year with my children, we headed off across the mountains from Switzerland to Italy, an 8-day trek, and then we bicycled 2,500 kilometers across the mountains to the southernest tip of Italy, and then we swam from the southernest tip of Italy to Sicily, and then we did another marathon and another bike ride, and then hiked up and finished at the top of Mount Sicily. And the great thing about having a big adventure like that is you have to train, you have to get fit for it. Last week we just climbed the highest mountain in Mount Africa, Mount Toubkal, and I was 18 hours on my feet and absolutely shattered by the end of it. But it felt good the next day, or at least the day after the next day.
What's the connection between the health and well-being of your employees and corporate profit?
As you know, we have a company in Boston called Virgin Pulse, and that encourages companies to get their employees healthy and fit, and it also saves the companies money because it reduces their insurance bill because they're not having, and it also means people are not going to be off sick so often and so on. So it's quite an easy sell to companies, and so I think. Any good company and any sensible company will come up with clever ways of trying to incentivize their employees to get fit. And we give people air miles for flying a lot. We should give people miles and rewards for keeping healthy and fit.
You've said that technology has kept you more connected, but what role do face-to-face interactions have in your success?
Oh, I mean, incredibly important to have the face-to-face. I mean, I've just, flew a couple of thousand miles to see the heads of Virgin Orbit, which is the company that puts satellites into space, and Virgin Galactic, that George Whiteside were going to put people into space. And we just spent 3 hours talking around a table, and we achieved an enormous amount through face-to-face contact that we would never have achieved, on the phone or via Skype or whatever. So fortunately, because I'm in the airline business, people still need to travel and have face-to-face meetings. And actually, I'm being genuine, they do. It's not just because I'm in the airline business. But you can do a lot. You can do a lot on Skype, but just spending real time with somebody is very important.
We're working longer hours than ever before. The average work week is 47 hours a week. Because of this, don't you think it's more important now than ever before to have real friendships with the people you work with?
Absolutely. I mean, look, I think you've got to think of the things that you believe in at home. You should bring everything that you believe in at home to the workplace, and the people who run companies should bring everything. There should be no difference between somebody's life at home and somebody's life at the workplace. So if at home you feel the environment's important, it should be important in the workplace. If at home you've got friends, you should have friends and equal number of friends in the workplace. If at home you need holidays, there's got to be flexibility in holidays in the workplace, and if you need to take a couple of days off because you're feeling unwell, or because a friend has died, or because a friend's getting married, or you should be able to do so. I mean, you should never feel that you're chained to a desk at work. So if you want to go off for 2 months unpaid leave, paid leave, you should be allowed to do that. If you want to work at home on Fridays and Mondays, you should be allowed to do that. If you want to work at home all the time, you should be allowed to do that. If you want to have flexible working, 50% work, 50% at home, you should be able to do that. Or job share with somebody, you should be able to do that. Because an employer is only going to get proper rewards from an employee if they love what they're doing. So we need a lot more flexibility, I think, in the workplace than a lot of companies give today.
And a lot of people have learned a lot from your experiences and everything that you've said over the years. But what is one piece of advice that you haven't really told people that you think is really vital, especially in our society today?
God, I hope I would have told people by now. But I mean, the most important thing I think I can say to people is just to look for the best in people all the time. I mean, if you look for the best, you're going to draw out the best in people. If you praise and don't criticize, that is how a good leader should do. A good leader should be a good listener. I mean, I was with someone this morning, and they called in a number of employees, and there was no question that the leader was not letting them do the talking and was not listening enough. And you've got to be a good listener, and a wonderful motivator. I mean, these attributes are so important, and And you've just got to create, you know, in a company, it's got to be a happy atmosphere. You know, I mean, you still hear of companies that are, I mean, there's a newspaper editor in the UK. I mean, he just rules by fear. That's not the way to run a company. It's horrible. And fortunately, you know, that is a dying breed. I think that the new younger people realise this, and hopefully that'll be the future.
Definitely. Thank you so much for your time,
Pleasure.
Richard. It's a pleasure having you
Thank
here.
you.